The next speaker, Leslie, I believe, is it Politis? Thank you.
Madam Chair, fellow commissioners, thank you. It was an education to hear about this project tonight. I'm here representing the Los Gatos Union School District. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Business Services. I've had that job coming up on 2 years in June, and a lifelong resident of Los Gatos. So this is all very interesting to me now that I've become quite the expert at forecasting the budget for a basic aid school district. So we're the K through 8 district, 5 schools, 3 of them within walking distance of this proposed development. And we are funded by our property taxes, as you know. So unlike most districts in California, we don't like it when our enrollment goes up because we don't get any more money per kid to do that. So when I started the job, I said, gee, how am I going to forecast enrollment? What do I need to think about with respect to new development? And I was told by a variety of folks, you know, the town is largely built out, and growing up here, I know that it sort of did feel that way, and that a lot of space left was commercial. Boy, what an eye-opening in 2 years of owning the budget for the district in terms of the number of kids coming in. So I thought I would just share, as a resident living less than a mile away, I think it's a very attractive project, and I'm not here to make a recommendation one way or the other on whether you approve it. I'm just here to share with you that we've been doing a lot of work with student generation rates internally in the district. I've spoken to Heather on the phone and we've compared notes. We actually believe, rather than forecasting, taking historic actuals on recent developments and looking at the address of the kids we have is a more representative number of what we're seeing. And I think your proposed active play space will be fantastic because I think you're going to get more than 4.47 kids in that development. We're at capacity. Our bonding capacity with our assessed value on property tax doesn't allow us to raise any more money to build more schools. So we're going to fit them in. We're going to fit those kids in, and it's a small development. But I'm encouraging developers to think about working with me. If each developer that does 12 or 13 doesn't think it's their problem, my problem gets bigger pretty fast. So I'm just please asking the commission to consider all the rezoning you do in the community and to take into consideration the impact that has on the quality of our education and the overcrowding of our schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It looks like you have several questions.
Okay.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
I have a question. I'm a great supporter of your schools.
I work in a building with your name on it every day.
I was there a long time. That was the only way he could get me out. I'm very concerned, not about what you said, but about what the legislature did to solve the problem.
Yeah.
They passed, as you know, a law that said it's mitigated if they pay us X dollars. And we all know X dollars doesn't do it, but that's what we've got. So, for example, on May 11th, we're going to consider Albright Way, which may include 500 units. That might have an impact on your schools. And that is solved by charging a per square foot fee. And then we can all forget about it. That's what the legislature has decided in their wisdom. So do you have any thoughts on, you've called to our mind a problem, and I agree with you. The legislature has said you only have one solution, and indeed we will enforce that solution. But it's not going to solve your problem. So I'm just wondering, is there something new out there that we could look to?
Yeah, so I do appreciate that it becomes our responsibility as a district to try to be more proactive and work with developers as we move forward. The value of the property here, and again, I do live within a mile of this development, and I'm loving the idea of a place to go sit and have a bite to eat, and I appreciate the value of the property. It has a lot to do with what I'll arrogantly say I think we do a great job of in our district, which is provide a high-quality education. I want to make sure we can continue to do that. And I want to get resourceful about how we work with developers to do that. Albright Way, we have talked to those folks already, and I understand what they're asking for. And I said, rock on, do the 516 residential and build me a school while you're at it. That's a lot easier than asking developers who are doing a little bit at a time. And mind you, I do believe, based on my data, that this development is going to generate, I'll just say about 15 kids versus the student generation rate. So it's not a lot. We can figure, but that is more than half a classroom. That's half a teacher's salary. We just put up a 2-story, 10-classroom building at Fisher Middle School, and I could tell you a $5 million project for 10 classrooms. So go figure out the cost of a classroom. And you can all tell from reading the paper every day, I'm in budget woes these days. So I'm just trying to think about that. The $2.97 per square foot for developer fees, I already did the math on the development here, and I know how long, I can build, I think, about a third of a classroom with that. And then those kids keep coming type thing. So how do we solve it? I'm going to make new best friends with some of the developers that are working in town and see what we can do to work collaboratively with these folks to help build the community. But I'm also asking the commission to please take that into consideration, and feel free to reach out to me or our new superintendent when she gets here soon, and we'd be happy to partner with you all in any way we can. Yeah.
Actually, any other questions? I do have a question. This is an educational process for me also. This $2.97 a square foot, so that's state mandated. That's not necessarily what the district decides is an appropriate supplement.
We have to get it approved, obviously, and then approved by our board. I can't decide to change that number on any given day.
And so the next question, as you know, there's going to be significant projects coming our way, and so this is going to be an issue that we're going to be grappling with for the next 2-3 years. So we had just adopted the last general plan that gave us the allocation formulas to use for townhouse, single-family homes. Is this something that that is incorrect? Is this something that maybe should have been looked at more in depth with historical data? I'm just curious, how do we actually find, I know there's no magic way to find the right number of kids coming into our schools, but what would be a better way to calculate and forecast if not using the formulas that we approved in the last general plan?
That's a great question, and if you set the timer, it would be good, because I love data and I love numbers, and I have a ton of information on your question. But let me give you just a quick answer for now. I do believe the student generation rates are based on something of merit. But like anything else that we've seen over the last couple of years, a lot of trends and variables used in forecasting really don't hold any water anymore. We get residency affidavits, and people have to sign under penalty of perjury saying, my brother and his kids are living with me now because they fell on hard times, and then they become students in our district as well. We have a lot more of those. We have caregiver affidavits. We have people renting. And so I do believe the student generation rates being used, or load factors, are understated at this point. So I've got a group of community folks who are professionals who I've lobbied to come in and help the district put an enrollment subcommittee together, who have been out looking at what's really happening. And from recent developments over the last 2 or 3 years, Bersano, the Villas over by Guadalupe Mines, we call them the Villas, we're at 0.43 on our student generation rate when you look at the actual system inside the district for kids. And that's clearly up twice as much as the generation rates that your general plan is using. So it could be off by a factor of 2x, I believe. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? So we may become close friends over the next 2 years.
Yeah, I'm happy to work with you all. Like I said, my kids are graduates, as am I, and I'm happy to see what we can do to work together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker